Hi, welcome to A Word with Kellie Scott Reed. We're here with Dave Serrette. Dave, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. We have been Twitter friends for a while,
Yeah.
just commenting here and there on each other's things. You always have something very funny to say. Tell us where you're coming from, like where you're greeting us in this interview from, as well as what you're all about. Everything.
Oh man. Okay. Well, physically, I am in the state of North Carolina. I'm outside of Raleigh, kind of south of Raleigh by about 15, 20 miles. Kind of out in the country. I got a little piece. I'm in my bedroom right now, which is also my home office. So that's where I'm beaming in from. What am I all about? Man, I don't even know that most days. I'm in my mid 30s and I am trying to, I don't know, man, just make life a little bit better for everybody. So I write my thoughts, I write my poems, I write my stories, and I put it out in the world and just hope that it makes somebody's day a little bit better.
Yeah. And so what are some of the things that you've been working on or that you have out right now?
Well, to be honest, I got a chapbook that just came out. It's called To Be Read Aloud to Houseplants. It's just a short little chapbook. It's got actually, it's a long chapbook. It's about 40 poems, but they're all short little poems. It's just those random little thoughts that I have and that come to me when I'm alone and maybe struggling a little bit more than sometimes. And so I got that out right now, and I'm proud as heck of it. It's actually my first major publication. I've had a few pieces published at Press Roy, which I'm proud as heck of. I like y'all's whole thing. I like the cut of y'all's jib. It just feels very good. And I like having my stuff there, and I like people seeing it.
That's fantastic. Now, have you been submitting for a long time? Have you been writing for a long, long time?
I've been writing a very long time. I've been writing probably since my mid-teens, but I went to college. I got a degree in English, and that just beat all of the desire to write out of me. And then I quit submitting. I quit trying. I quit trying to get published. Probably by my first real submission that I made was when I was probably 19 years old. And throughout that 3-4 years of college, I never got anything accepted. So I just kind of quit. It was just very hard for me to keep beating my head against that wall. But I never stopped writing. I kept writing. And I don't know, man, the pandemic and everything, it just made priorities get realigned for a lot of people, I think. And I said, you know what, let's do something with it. I've been writing poetry, like I said, for maybe 15 years or so, short stories. And I decided to just start sending them out into the world and letting people read them. And one of my first submissions was maybe a year ago, again, seriously. And it was another bit of a struggle. And then you guys decided to put one of my pieces in y'all's magazine, one of the very early issues too.
I think I remember. I'm going to have maybe one of them look it up while we're talking.
Yeah, it was.
I'd like to pull that up. I can't. There's so many, and it's not because yours isn't special. It's that there are so many. There's no way my brain can.
Great about it. You know, you guys are able to do so much and put so much out, and it's just wonderful for people like me, especially who have never had that feeling of acceptance to finally get that letter in and say, yeah, man, I did it.
Oh, that makes me happy. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I was 36 years old. Y'all were the first people to publish one of my pieces. And then since then, I've had a few more here and there. And then the chapbook just came out from Alien Buddha Press. And it's just, just taking off, man. Just doing it.
Awesome. Now, is that a guitar that I see in your back corner? Am I?
Yeah, it is. I don't actually
play
guitar. I don't. I'm very bad. I come from a family of musicians. My dad is a musician. We're from South Louisiana. Everybody plays music. My dad tried to get me to play music. I can't, though. I'm not good. I don't try anymore, but that's all right. But I've
always wanted to be that. I wanted to be a musician so bad my whole life. Like that was my goal. I will start it. I'll get like a fire. I'll catch fire. It'll be really instinctual. And then I'm just like, I can't do it anymore. There's too much sedentary practice that I just can't, I can't focus that long. It's terrible.
And so much like just walking in place and treading water for so long, and like, man, there's no progress. I'm not feeling good about anything, and I just can't get it all together. It's I could never really get the hang of it, but it reminds me of where I come from, I guess.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, could you describe for us a time when you realized in your life that language had power?
Man, language specifically, I think growing up in South Louisiana has been such a special thing. My grandparents' first language was French. My grandfather didn't start to learn English until he started school. The grandparents and the aunts and uncles, they always spoke French around the kids so that they didn't understand what they were talking about sometimes. So there was always something special and important to what you could do with language and how we can communicate with each other and the different ways that we could communicate there. And then specifically when I was a little kid, I was kind of a liar. I told a lot of stories. And I never once got out of trouble, but I kept trying. And that made me kind of realize, okay, maybe I can't use this for me, but maybe I can do something else with it.
So you're a good storyteller. I remember like being told not to tell stories. That's what lies were.
Right.
In my neighborhood, they're like, don't tell stories. And I'm like, yeah, but the story is everything. It's way better.
I mean, that's the best part. How is anybody going to understand if I don't tell them everything that happened?
So funny. That is really awesome. That's very funny to me. Do you have any literary heroes, people that you grew up reading or knew personally?
Knew personally, not really. I'm very much an outsider of the literary community. But as far as growing up reading, and this is where my English nerd is really going to come out. When I was in college, I focused in like the American Renaissance, late 19th century literature. So I read Walt Whitman and Emily Dickinson and all of those really kind of transcendental, heavy writers. And I would say if I had any heroes, that's who it would be. It would be Walt Whitman, specifically one of them, because I mean, he just took this stuffy, poetic forms and just broke it open with the American dialect. And he did so much that nobody had ever seen before. And I think that was when I started shifting more to what can we do with poetic language versus the storytelling. And that's when I really started writing poetry and stuff. So yeah, those late 19th century transcendentalists, I mean, the really big major figures, the cliches, you know, and then growing up in South Louisiana, we had such a strong late 19th century feminist movement, like Kate Chopin, you know, and she was starting to get discovered again when I was coming up into college. And, you know, that this woman in the late 1800s could do this and did this, and, you know, was kind of breaking out of that mold that society put her in. Man, that takes some strength.
It does. Oh my gosh. So you're giving me an education. I'm going to start taking notes because like, no, you have some unique takes. I mean, I was talking in an interview earlier that I wouldn't say I'm not well read. I was an English major, so I was forced to read some, you know, things. But then I was in a class like critical approaches to literature, where I got to dissect things based on philosophies. So the way when you're talking about transcendental and all that, I'm like, okay, that was kind of my favorite stuff. I should probably revisit. So I'm learning from you today, Dave.
Yeah, really, you know, and
that's cool.
I'm so bad with like contemporary writers. I'll admit that. I don't think I've read a writer past William Carlos Williams in I don't know how long. I'm so bad with reading modern stuff. I don't know who's out there. I don't know who's working.
I have two names for you that I want you to listen.
I'm ready.
Ocean Vaughn, and Jericho Brown.
All right.
For poets. Poets and writers. Ocean Vaughn writes actual prose as well. But it's, if you want to, that you will love, I think those two.
I'm always looking for more. I'm always reading. So I just finished the book I was reading today. So, I mean, I need something new now. I mean, what am I going to do for a little while? Come on.
Exactly. So how do you think where you grew up affected your writing?
I think the biggest thing is to go back to that storytelling. Southern writers, I mean, I forget who said it, but I heard it in an interview. Somebody said something about Southern writers already having a leg up because we're surrounded and born into that oral storytelling tradition. And even with my poetry and even the more language poetry things that I write, there's always a story there. There's always something there. And growing up specifically in South Louisiana, my grandparents telling stories, my parents telling stories. I know it sounds lame and cliche, but man, I did come from that oral story tradition. And I still carry that storytelling gene. And I don't know what I'd be doing if I couldn't be doing that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, is there anything else creatively that you delve into besides poetry and writing? What do you have any other creative outlets?
Yeah, I mean, creatively, it's pretty much all writing in some form or another. The music never really worked out. So, you know, I've never really been good with art. My brother always kind of overshadowed me with the visual arts. So I kind of found my place and my way of expression in writing. But yeah, I write prose as well. I write all kind of stuff just kind of as the mood strikes me. My work in progress right now is like a little horror novella thing. So I'm all over the place when it comes to writing. I just do what strikes me.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, do you, how do I phrase this that doesn't sound weird?
Just let it go.
Yeah. Now, when you're writing and you sit down to write something, do you have to be inspired to do it, or can you just sit and do it? Because, you know, you talk about storytelling. Usually there's a catalyst to draw the story out for the person telling it. So do you sit
Yeah.
down and write, or do you have the idea first?
Well, it kind of depends. A lot of my poetry is written very spur of the moment. You know, I'm on a walk, I'm sitting at lunch, I'm doing something, and the idea will come to me, or a line will come to me, and it'll just kind of start going from there, and I'll just go off and write something down. Now, I find, though, that with a larger piece, any sort of prose, I got to force myself. I got to force myself and sit down, and I'm going to do something. And it's hard, and it's a struggle, and I may end up throwing away everything I wrote because I don't like it. But I mean, hey, at least I tried.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's half the battle, right?
Yeah, I tend to have someone ask me for something. Someone has to like throw the idea out there. Like it's very
Right.
hard for me to like like it's literally the last thing I think about doing because it requires me to sit in one place. So that requires me to get all the extra energy out so that I can sit and focus. And usually it has to be a very desperate situation for me to start writing. Like I have to be at work and like super bored, or something. I don't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing at. It's just sometimes I have to write a eulogy. I've done some eulogies, like so. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, sure, I can do that. I just can't
Yeah.
download my own. So I just thought that was an interesting.
No, yeah, I find the same thing sometimes. You need somebody to kind of light that fire a little bit to get you going. But it always comes out in the end. It always ends up coming out. Not always the best, not always what I like, but it's something.
Do you have any literary friends in the literary community and like Twitter community or anything that you bounce things off of or get ideas from?
Well, not really, honestly. A very good friend of mine. He's a writer and sexual educator. His name is Cody Daigle. He's a very good friend of mine. I've known him for a very long time. He's got some pieces that he's written, some fiction, some nonfiction. I talk to him all the time. But as far as my writing and my ideas, I don't know. It kind of comes out of me, and I want it to be from me. And that's not to say that we can't work things out in a community manner, because I also come very heavily from a theater tradition. I was a total theater kid when I was in high school. I was in the theater. I wrote plays, and it was so heavy on that collaboration, and that's absolutely vital. But personally, it's more about me just getting my shit out most of the time.
I love it. Well, Tiffany was really kind and actually found the pieces. So let me get those up. Let me see if I can. Oh God, if I lose you, don't be mad. I'll come right back. I'll find you again.
That's fine.
Oh my goodness. Where's my chat? There it is. Classes would be great, of course. All right. Let me see. It is Untitled 2 and 3. I remember these.
Yeah,
I remember these.
I'm so bad with titles. Everything's untitled. I don't do titles.
Oh, yeah. These were awesome.
Thank you.
My goodness. So they're on the archive if anybody wants to go. They were May 15th, I think it looks. I don't know if that's when we
all right.
put them out there. Mm-hmm. So fairly new. We've only been around a year, but that's so awesome. I'm absolutely thrilled that thank you, Tiffany. You're the best for finding that. Check them out there. I remember them well. So as soon as I started reading, I'm like, okay. Are you working on anything else or anything coming up soon or that you want to plug or any place you're going to be? Do you do readings?
I don't. Not because I don't want to, but I don't know how. That's another thing is, I work a very corporate job. I sit in an office all day. I've been out of the literature circle since college for, 10, 15 years now. I don't know how to start doing readings and stuff, man. I think I asked you months ago, like, okay, I got all this shit. What do I do with it now? And you're like, yeah, here, go submit to these people, go check them out. And I did. And, and that's where the chapbook came out of that conversation. So as far as projects, yeah, I got my chapbook. I would love if everybody goes buys a copy. Please go read it. Love it. It's a bunch of short poems right here. To be read. There you go.
That's awesome. That's a great cover. I dig that cover. Is that a place that you've been, or?
No. It was something. The graphic design of it was something that the publisher took over, but we kind of bounced some ideas. And I don't know, for this particular collection, I've just had this idea of this cozy room with these obviously artificial plants. I don't know, just I'm really into those weird juxtapositions like that. Like the titles of all the poems or the Latin names and the scientific names of different plants, but the poems are very like simple and straightforward. And I don't know, I like messing with things like that. So I got that out. I got another piece that's coming out in Sebastian's anthology. I don't know when that's right.
We're buddies in that. Yes.
Yeah. Place where everyone's name is fear.
Yes.
And with the proceeds from that going to Planned Parenthood. Very important cause to me, I'll be honest. And when he put that call out, I'm like, I got to come up with something. Even if he says no, I gotta throw something out there. But they accepted it, so I got that coming out whenever that's coming. And I always got so many things in progress. I got some other poetry collections I'm trying to put together and piece together right now. As far as anything on the books right now, that's about it right now. But I'm always open. I'd love to do more. I'd love to do something.
That's a lot. That's awesome.
Doesn't feel like so much though. That's the weird thing. I feel like I'm such a slacker. This is like the first like real interview press junket I've ever done. And
oh my God. It is a bit of a junket.
Don't sell yourself short. Y'all are great.
So funny. Oh my gosh, I love it. No, this has been awesome to get to know you. It's really been fun.
Thank you.
Really fun.
I'm having fun, man. It's good.
Look for poetry readings because we're going to start doing them online where we all get together. You can sign up. We had to go on a hiatus because summer gets insane. Where we're from, summer obviously is so short. It's like a June, July, and August, 3 months. We got to pack everything in those 3 months. So it gets crazy. So we're going to start over the winter doing our poetry readings and stuff again. So that'll be really fun.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye out, do some stuff with y'all if I can find anything else. But like I said, I want to do more. I would love to do more. I'd love to get out there more. It's finding my way, finding my path right now in the Twitter sphere and the literary circles.
Yeah, it's a great place. It's a great space to be in. I love it. I do not like technology or social media at all. I hate it. But this, because you can I only really follow people who are writers.
Right.
And I just stay in that sphere and it's amazing. It's so supportive and great.
It really is. I've met so many good people over Twitter and just had really cool conversations. And I don't know, man, it's a weird thing. And it's so supportive and everybody's, I don't know, it's not as cutthroat as maybe I expected it to be. But I don't know, maybe I'm just a little overly anxious and scared about things. I don't know. That's a different story. But yeah, it's great. It's great that everybody's coming together and doing such cool things.
Yeah, so much good stuff. Well, I appreciate you coming. I'll let you go. Thank you so much, Dave. It's been so great to meet you.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.